It had been a week after Xavier terrorized the island. So many engines on the island were killed that day, but only 3 were able to be saved. Donald, Big City Engine, and Henry. Donald was the one that they were most worried about, as he was the Sodor's president. They were also worried about Henry and Big City Engine, as Henry was a prominent engine on the island, and Big City Engine was there to work. The others, they could not save, but they were able to save those 3. Donald had massive injuries. Big City Engine had grazed a boiler, and Henry, well, Henry was fine, but the inside of him was not. However, an engine that had gotten fixed before that was the Sodor's main target. His name is Marklin. Timmy, an engine that worked with Xavier, killed Marklin and threw pieces all over. Marklin was dead, but thankfully the Sodor Steamworks were able to repair him. Marklin was brought to Steamworks. He was in critical condition. From what I saw at the scene, Marklin was in critical condition. They had almost no hope for him. They were tearing him apart, trying to fix him in any way they could. He had so many broken parts, and so little time to live. If they had been 1 minute off, then Marklin would definitely not be here to this day. He looked terrible. His buffers, his funnel, his face, one of his domes. Hell, his entire coupling system was down. The couplers had jammed off. I'm glad that Timmy was killed on that day. Very glad that he was. It took hours to repair Marklin, to import all types of buffers from Germany. Hard to get German standard buffers imported from Germany. He was fine afterwards, but there was someone who could not change. Thomas the Tank Engine, who was there during Marklin's killing, he saw all the pieces of him fall off. I mean, he literally saw him getting blown to bits. Like, it is so insanity. The fact that someone would even do that in front of a little engine. Even Xavier wasn't cool with it. That's how Timmy died. Xavier killed him because it was just too harsh to the little guy. Boy, you should have seen Thomas's reaction to when he saw that Marklin had been repaired. Oh, he kissed him, he hugged him, everything. And he's not gay, he has a girlfriend. Marklin was able to get back in service afterwards. Thomas was never the same. He could still work, but he was very traumatized. Eventually, Marklin started to develop feelings for Thomas, but Thomas was already in a relationship, so he blocked him off. Which was actually pretty stupid on Marklin. You know that he has a girlfriend, then why ask him out? It's just insanity. But what I find really weird is that it took hours to clean up the parts of Marklin. Like, Marklin was just laying there for hours with Thomas. Thomas was just standing there, watching him for hours, and no one was helping Marklin. I interviewed the crane who plowed Marklin away. She said that no one had alerted her of Marklin's body being there. But I don't believe it's true. When Marklin first died, Thomas yelled a scream so loud that the entire island heard. How do you not know that someone is in trouble from that scream? It's ridiculous. Someone should have known that Marklin was dead. Thomas didn't even blow his ghost whistle or nothing. He's just standing there. I mean, he was speaking gibberish. But it took him hours to relearn English until he saw Marklin. Like, he didn't know any English, he was just speaking gibberish. Thomas was babbling like a brook. Until he saw Marklin, then he could speak English. Which I also find weird is that Marklin doesn't have a carb. German engines are supposed to have carbs. In fact, Marklin's model is supposed to have a carb, so why was Marklin built without a carb? Insanity. How a German engine number I'm not built without a cab because they forgot to build me one. Okay? Do you understand now? Hey, this is my show. Get off. No. I'm gonna tell you about my whole life, what led up to the Timmy incident. Xavier built me in Germany in '54. I wasn't alive until he put that light on my face. That's what gave me life. And talking to him, he almost had a heart attack. I had to call out for help, and the paramedics almost had a heart attack. But Xavier was able to finish building me. Piece by piece, he was building me. Till finally, I was complete, and Xavier took me for a drive. It worked pretty well, so Xavier thought to take me to Sodor. He had plans to kill the president after he got into a dispute with him. That's the main reason he took me to Sodor. He wanted revenge, and at first I was all for it, but then I started to change my mind. However, Jimmy was a pretty funny sidekick, so that's mainly why I stayed. Jimmy was nice and funny, and I thought we'd be able to get this plan easily over with. But I abandoned Xavier after his attempt went wrong. Thomas took me in. I came on the neutral side, and it was no longer bad, which was a good thing for me. Really pissed Xavier off. One day I'm puffing along, and then I see a green engine, a blue engine, Jimmy, and Xavier in front of me. This could not be possible, as Xavier was dead, and Jimmy was in prison. The blue one, called Timmy, came after me, pushed me to the side, and started hitting me furiously. Parts were flying off. Buffers, headlamps, and my funnel fell off. All that hard work that Xavier had brought to me was coming to an end. I couldn't do anything about it either. He had me pinned down. Then he delivered the final blow. Ah! The final blow was what knocked most of my parts off. Thomas witnessed the entire thing. He was petrified and shocked. You could hear him scream throughout the entire island. Jimmy told me that he almost had his ears blown out by Thomas. I was dead, but somehow I could hear it too. Finally, the Sodor's driller took me to the steamworks. They had to figure out where to get all my parts from. It only took them a day, but I was repaired. The engines wanted to hold a surprise for Thomas. I reluctantly agreed to. When Thomas saw me, my God, you should have seen his reaction. He started to kiss me, which I didn't really like at the time. He hugged me, kept kissing me some more. Percy said it was the gayest thing he'd ever seen. He told me that he was just doing it as a friend, which I was happy about, and that leads us to today. I didn't personally get to say bye to Xavier one last time, but honestly, I didn't really need to. I got his goodbye, and that's all I really need.